Hello and welcome to the season finale of the Infinity Archives.
Yeah, whoop.
Okay, so we're back now for the last time until Christmas, you lucky, lucky people. So, how are you and who are you?
I'm me, and I'm just am.
I'm me and I'm also good. So, do you think we should move on to the news?
I don't know. Is there any news? Will?
So we're back with the news now. And our first headline today is there are soundtracks for the Day of the Doctor and the Time of the Doctor being released soon.
Ooh.
They're on sale from the 24th of November, but you can pre-order them on Amazon and BBC Shop, I'd imagine.
I suppose. Free advertising. Send us a copy, please.
Yes, that would be nice. So I didn't really pick up the music on the Time of the Doctor, but I remembered quite liking it for Day of the Doctor. So
Yeah, they're both quite good. Yes. Murray Gold, he's all right.
he's good. Doctor Who Adventures, that kiddie magazine for younger Doctor Who fans, is going monthly now.
Oop, a sure sign of dropping sales.
Due to a poor net circulation.
Oh, told you.
Because from January to June 2014, their net circulation on average was just 19,966 per issue, down by 8,477 and 29.8% on the previous 6 months.
Wow. People have probably just run out of spaces to put stickers and notebooks to write in.
Oh, and don't forget those quality masks you get once
Well,
in a while.
to be serious, I mean, I am completely the other end of the wrong sort of age demographic for this sort of magazine, but even putting myself into the mindset of a 6 to 8 year old,
6 to 10 year old, I think.
6 to 10 year old, well, even putting myself in that sort of mindset, this is a pretty terrible magazine. It's endless competitions, a rather wonky comic strip, both sort of the way it's written and certainly the artwork, and just endless posters and sort of like a few very basic articles. And when you sort of compare it to sort of like the early issues of Doctor Who Weekly, which was sort of aimed at a similar age range but had a lot more going for them. As a kid sort of growing up and reading Doctor Who Weekly, for me these really sort of educated me about the show. It's where I learnt about the first Doctor adventures, and the comic strips in that, written by the likes of sort of Alan Moore, illustrated by David Lloyd, they still stand up today. And Doctor Who Adventures is just a bit of fluff, really.
I used to get them when they first started, and back when they first started, they were a little more comprehensive, but they went down the drain and I cancelled it.
Well, they weren't much more comprehensive. It was posters, few articles, few cheap competitions. There's nothing there really. To be honest, I'm surprised it hasn't sort of folded ages ago.
Are you forgetting the quality-free gifts with every issue?
Anyway, let's move on. We're not here to discuss.
There is a statement, though, which is a bit so basic from their publishers. They say, "We regularly look at the most appropriate frequency for our magazine titles, and following research we've decided to move Doctor Who Adventures to a full weekly frequency, in line with the rest of the market. We'll be focusing on a more improved gift offering, while continuing to deliver our Doctor Who fans the content they love."
E.g. puzzles, posters, and
adverts. There's an advert every page.
And a very poorly done script. Yes, what else have we got?
Well,
Isn't there a symphonic stadium tour coming in
There
the
has.
style of the ones from Australia. Call Blimey Gobber.
That's very true.
Isn't it being hosted by Mr. Peter Davison,
That's very true. We had news,
a.k.a. Tristan Farnan,
we had-
Elmer, and the Fifth Doctor,
we had news that this
to
was
name
being
but three.
We had news that this was coming to the UK quite a while back, but it's only been confirmed now that Peter Davison is hosting this symphonic spectacular. He has confirmed it himself, and he's made a statement, but it's far too long to read out. We should go out and see it
So we
on
won't
the internet.
bother.
No.
And our last bit of news.
That the Doctor Who TARDIS tours,
TARDIS tours.
which offer viewers and fans the opportunity to visit the actual TARDIS set when you're not allowed to touch any buttons, is actually closing from the 3rd of November to the 23rd of November.
Just in time for the anniversary. Hurrah!
Yeah, which was a shame because I've discussed this before, and I was supposed to be going then, but with a friend, but we soon discovered that we actually got the dates. But we actually discovered we got the dates wrong, and we're going on the 29th. So
I
our
prefer figs.
experience to TARDIS tours is completely uninterrupted by this. But it's a bit strange why they'd suddenly close it down. Is it for filming something? Is it for refurbishment? We just don't know.
Few of us even care.
Well,
Anyway, what's next?
that's the end of the news, but we have had 2 episodes of Doctor Who, the finale, Dark Water and Death in Heaven. Will they change our opinions of Peter Capaldi, or just make us feel a little bit let down? Find out now. So, the 2-part finale, the first 2-parter since the Rebel flashback all the way back in 2011. And it started off with Dark Water. So, what did we think?
Well, why don't you go first? And I'll
Well-
try not to sob too much.
Well,
I would just like to take this time to mention our sponsors, the Doctor Who Underpants range of underpants with Doctor Who. Wear your underpants with pride. And here we are, in a seamless segue. William, what did you think of the episode Dark Water?
Well, I gave Dark Water a 5 out of 10 because I enjoyed the scene with Clara and the Doctor, but I felt cheated when it turned out
Which
to be
scene with Clara and the Doctor? There were a few.
the main scene where they're out on the volcanic eruption.
Ah, you mean the pointless dream sequence?
Yes, the pointless dream sequence. I enjoyed it because I think it showed off the dynamic between Peter Capaldi and Clara really well, and I just felt cheated really when it turned out to be a dream sequence.
Right. Why?
Well, I thought, but this was all this build-up with Clara throwing all the keys in, and then suddenly it's just a dream state. Yeah, I thought it was just a daft way to let a scene that I was sort of getting into.
Right. Well,
Anyway, even if Clara did destroy all the keys, surely the Doctor just has to snap his fingers and go back inside.
shh.
Okay. So what did you think of that scene then?
I thought it was well played, and I thought it was quite interesting, but I thought it was spoilt by the fact it had ultimately no bearing on the rest of the episode or story. But I thought, yeah, it was very well played. I thought, if it had gone down that route more, it might have been a bit more interesting, but yeah.
I think one of the biggest talking points for this scene, apart from the revelation, but we'll go into that later, was the whole point, the 3W, the whole point of it, and that got quite a lot of complaints, and the BBC have responded to them. But I thought myself that was a little bit too over the top.
I thought, personally, it was a little too dark for a family programme.
Yeah, it's not Torchwood, this is.
People keep asking for a more adult Doctor Who, and to be fair, I think this is about as adult as you're ever likely to get.
Yeah.
But, jumping ahead and just for a second putting the 2 episodes together, put together, these 2 episodes are pretty morose. They're pretty sort of, just
Deep.
depressing. They're bleak is the word I heard somebody use, and that's what they are. They are pretty bleak. And it's, I keep saying this in every podcast, but it's not how I see Doctor Who.
So Danny ended up being uploaded to the Neversphere, where he met Seb, played by Chris Addison. On all my notes, I've got question mark, because
Is he in a quiz show?
some points I enjoyed his character, but other times I think he was a bit too over the top with the facial expressions and the body language. I think it just made him look a bit too silly, really.
I just found him annoying, I got to be honest.
So jumping ahead to the next episode, I enjoyed the bit where Mr. just turns around and shoots him.
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah, okay. And then the main part of the episode was the cliffhanger, I think, for me. And I like how it's sort of cut together with there being 4 points to it, really.
Mm-hmm.
So just sort of basic one part. There's Clara trapped in that room with that Cyberman. The revelation of Missy, which we'll get into in a minute. Danny choosing whether to delete his subconsciousness or whatever it was. And 5 men invading London. Again. So, what did you think of the Missy revelation of her being the Master?
I thought it had potential, and it didn't sort of wind me up the way it has a lot of people. And I think there's nothing really wrong with having a female master. But again, jumping ahead, I don't think that concept was used in any way, shape, or form. It was such a generic sort of mad master part. You may as well have got John Sim back or someone else in. The whole point of sort of making the master a woman just had no relevance to the rest of the story. There was no sort of explanation really for it, and it was a bit of a shame because then it just comes over as a bit gimmicky.
Yeah, because with the next episode, it didn't need to be the Master. The only point that could have been the Master is the whole line to the Doctor about Gallifrey thing.
Well, the thing about Darkwater, the whole episode is basically a build-up for the climax and the last 5 minutes, where even then not really a lot happens.
So what would you Water then out of 10?
I would probably give it a 4.
So that's a 9.
Because I think if you take out all the Danny Pink Clara nonsense and you take out the whole Master thing, I think somewhere in there is the germ of a really good Cyberman story. And I think if they could have kept the sort of presence of the Cybermen secret, which isn't easy when they're parading halfway through London and everything, and then I think it would have been a really good episode. And that reveal of the skeletons draining away to sort of reveal Cybermen could have been really effective if it was a surprise. Like, it could have been a real modern Earthshot moment.
Yeah, definitely.
But ultimately, it just felt like padding towards the climax, like I said.
Yeah, that was basically my thoughts on Darkwater. Really, I don't know because I've seen it twice now. I watched it when it was first on, and then I rewatched it just before Death in Heaven to see if it would change my opinion of the two-part a bit, just to emphasise the fact that it was padded, really, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I certainly do.
So, the next episode then was the finale, Death in Heaven. You want to start with this?
Where to start with this? Where? Yeah, it started off quite well with UNIT and Kate Lethbridge-Stewart coming back, who's a good character, and, had quite a good setup there. And then it just suddenly all goes to pot. They make the Doctor the president of the world, which is a bit of a silly idea. They all go off in a plane, which is an even worse idea, considering that there's flying Cybermen everywhere, and it just falls apart, really. Which is a really shame. Yeah, it was just such a dull episode, really. I don't think there was any real payoff to any of the Clara Danny Pink relationship.
Nope.
It's yet another episode in this series where the Doctor does absolutely nothing and is basically just impotent and is just sort of standing around reacting to stuff rather than taking charge. And I don't know. And then we've got Missy, or the Master, depending on your point of view, who suddenly develops this very strong Scottish accent, like, because she's got to compete with Peter Capaldi. And all of a sudden, all the subtleties just get thrown out the window, and we've just got another generic mad master characterization. You go to the trouble of making the Doctor different every incarnation. Why not do the same with the Master? Why is this sort of thing of the Master just being mad now such a intrinsic character thing? And I just didn't see the point of her suddenly going all over the top. You know, you've got her killing Osgood, which should have been, you know, if it played sort of down, that could have been a really chilling scene. But instead, it just comes across as a bit silly because she's like, "Oh, I've already killed you. Oh, yeah, 10, 9, 8, woo!" And just this, it was just so over the top. It was annoying, and it just pulled me out of the episode.
Yeah, it really didn't do the character of Osgood any justice.
No,
at
it was an
all.
absolute waste of the character. Really, really silly. I don't know why they did that.
I think that could have been so much more. It could have had much more of an impact if it had, like you said, been played down. One thing
And
I
then we
really
get the whole idea, you know, here we are, Series 8, another stupid idea. This time, we've got Cybermen being created by rain. So we have magic rain, basically, falling on graves that are coating dead people in circuitry and metal and becoming Cybermen. How that works, I have no idea. Yes, before you all start shouting and ranting, I know it's a science fiction show, I know it's a fantasy show, but it's got to have a grounding in plausibility. And this is just nonsense. It really is.
Yep. Can I just get this off my chest now? Because if I don't get it off my chest now, it's going to build up, and I'll probably explode. The Brigadier scene, I loved how they had the portrait on the plane. I think that was a really nice touch. But the fact that they resurrected the character as a Cyberman and then killed him off within a matter of 30 seconds, that really bugged me. I really have to say that I found that disrespectful, to be honest.
And since when has the Brigadier ever been bothered about the Doctor saluting him? I think the Brigadier was a lot more grounded as a person and a character than needing the Doctor to sort of salute him in any way, shape or form. I think, you know, the Brigadier completely understood that wasn't the Doctor's character.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that because my brain was so, why would you do that?
And if you're going to use
Disrespectful.
that point, then surely the perfect thing to happen was have all the story, have the adventure, and then the resolution being you see the portrait of the Brigadier and the Doctor salutes that.
Yeah.
You know, if you need to salute it at all, but, you know, just...
It was just disrespectful, to be honest.
I mean, I've seen some people who say they love it. You know, I've seen a lot more who said that they think they found it a bit tasteless, but
Yeah.
I'm in the tasteless camp.
Me too. I couldn't believe that. I genuinely thought that was some kind of mistake that they left in there or something. But I have notes as well on this episode, the Brigadier thing. Osgood's death didn't bother me. I've been over that. Danny Pink as a Cyberman, I predicted before the episode had even been on. Before I'd even seen the preview, which basically revealed it. And if I can guess how predictable Doctor Who is going to be, then that means it's predictable.
Well, you know, I mean, it's just such a silly way to end the whole sort of Danny Clara relationship. You know, he's a Cyberman. Yeah, if he switches on these circuits, then he cuts off his emotions. But, you know, he switches off the circuits and his emotions are there just long enough to move on the plot, you know. Just terrible story writing. You know, it's...
I think that was another character like with Osgood. It didn't do Danny any justice because he's this character we've sort of seen develop over the season for him to be blown up, basically.
And no offence to the actors, but, you know, these are good actors giving good performances, but it's almost like they sort of weren't completely bought into the sort of plot of... And the whole thing of Danny turning into the Cybermen, you know, they just don't seem very comfortable with it to me as they're performing it.
Yeah, I just really had a problem with the whole Danny thing and the whole Brigadier thing.
And as I said before, you know, it's a downer. You know, I don't want Doctor Who being down and morose. I want it to be sort of an adventure. I don't want the Doctor being passive. I want him to be a hero. I want him to get involved. I want him to be passionate and fighting for, you know, to save people, to help people, to stop evil monsters. It's the fundamental core of the show, which just isn't there for me at the moment.
Yeah, the fact that the Doctor, no matter how happy he is the other time, he can be really dark. Like we saw that with elements in Matt Smith's tenure. Like he was so sort of jolly and happy the rest of the time, but there were times where he could be really dark and sad and miserable. But Peter Capaldi just hasn't seem to be happy at all this season, really.
No, it's the flip side. You have sort of flashes of him being eccentric, and which is a shame because when he does that, like I said before on previous programs, he's so good. He has got that lightness of touch. He has got that likability, but he just never seems to be able to sort of carry it along for long enough, and you were just left with this dour sort of character who, it's obvious that he cares, but he's very shielded, he's very closed with his emotions, but it doesn't work for me, I got to say.
Yeah, I thought the whole Peter Capaldi being eccentric, I thought there was definitely a flash and a glimpse of it towards the end where he's not a hero, he's not a bad man, he's an idiot. And he seemed to be a bit more happy there, but then we see him again, just seems to be back to his normal self, and I was hoping.
But he's not an idiot. He is a hero.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
the Doctor.
Exactly.
This is a guy who sort of wants to find out things. He wants to help people, or that's how it used to be.
Yeah, and I just wish that moment there with Missy giving him the army, and then he decided that he doesn't need it, which changed his character into a more happy person. I thought that was going, but no, and that made me feel more let down. So, before we move on to the actual ending of the season, is there anything else you want to say about the content of the episode?
It was just so bleak, like they said. It's grey. It's a very grey couple of episodes. It looks grey, and it's not what I would want to watch on a Saturday night in the autumn. I want something that's a bit frightening, a bit spooky, a bit funny, a bit eccentric, and a bit, bit adventurous.
Good.
This is just. I mean, there are people out there who I've talked to who love it and really enjoyed it, and if they did, fair dues to you. I'm thoroughly jealous because I cannot get on board with it at all.
Like you said last time, and I think you said it before, that you haven't really been on board since the Moffat era, whereas I think I have more than you, but I definitely felt there's something missing, and this season just took me out of the whole program, really.
For me, he's just sort of spending far too much time trying to put his own stamp on the show and trying to outdo Russell T Davies, it seems, but I don't know, yes, Doctor Who should try different things. Yes, Doctor Who should sort of push its boundaries, but there's a core thing and a core idea of who the Doctor is and how he behaves that I don't think you can sort of move past. You can expand on it. Yes, the Doctor's flawed. Yes, he makes mistakes, but this is a pretty dark sort of series all in all.
Yeah, this has been. I think there's no other way of putting it. And then the ending with Clara leaving for good now this time. There have been rumours, but they were confirmed. And I like how the fact that Jenna Louise Coleman didn't confirm it just to make the ending, I think, have a bit more of an impact.
Yeah, but there are still plenty of rumours that she's going to be in the Christmas special.
Yeah, but I think because of the fact that they both leave by lying to each other after the whole 2-year relationship they've had.
I didn't get the whole scene of them lying to each other. I don't know what that's all about. That just didn't work for me at all.
I got to be honest, I really didn't like that at all. But that was the worst way to. It's the worst goodbye with a companion we've had ever, I think, since Dodo and.
Who's name checked, maybe?
But
the Chaplet Funeral Home?
Yeah, I suppose it could be.
For people who are as dead as I don't know it.
Good.
But yeah, I just didn't see the point of them lying to each other, and
I just thought it was a horrible way to end a friendship that's been going on for 2 years now.
Well, I mean, I still wouldn't be surprised if she's in the Christmas special.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still the unresolved pregnancy thing, Orson Pink, how does he come into being?
Of course, yeah, I never thought about that.
Well, I mean, the rumour is that she is pregnant.
Who, the actress or Clara?
Clara.
Right.
Because when you notice the post-it notes in Dark Water, one of them clearly says 3 months. Whereas the other ones are very specifically tied into sort of like the episodes.
Oh, right, I thought.
And what happens in them, and there's just one that, if you look carefully, that says 3 months. So does that mean she's 3 months pregnant?
Maybe that's how long she's been. That's how long she's been travelling with the Doctor since she told him that she wasn't. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, we just have to see. It's
We will have to
Christmas.
see. Maybe it will be revealed when with Nick Frost guest starring as Father Christmas.
Yes.
That was sort of, in a way I enjoyed that, but in a way I didn't. I like it was sort of a callback when the season finales used to finish. There was just a tiny little thing that leads straight into the Christmas special. I did like that, but in a way I thought it was a bit weird that Peter Capaldi just sat down doing nothing now.
Well, I mean, again, that all depends on what happens in the Christmas special, I mean, Nick Frost as Santa Claus, Father Christmas. I'm bored with that, but
Yeah, because it's a Christmas
the
special. They're
bits
meant to
that
be
you
fun.
see in the sort of very short trailer, looks the same old thing. It's a bunch of soldiers at the North Pole, some monsters or something skulking about. But like I said, you can't judge from that. Far too early to tell.
But so we finished the season now. Can I just say that there is one thing I've enjoyed throughout the season that's been consistent, and that's the music. I quite enjoyed the music this season.
It's been very subtle this season.
That's what I liked about it, to be honest. It wasn't in your face, but it was there enough for you to notice it and like it.
It was okay, yeah. I don't think it's Murray Gold's strongest season, I gotta be honest.
No, I think that was season 5.
I don't know, there's some very, very good stuff in season 3.
Yeah, season 3 and 5. But I thought this was good, and now I'll be behind the soundtrack when this comes out. But that's the end of season 8. We've reviewed every single episode now of this season until Christmas, where at the end of the year we'll be doing a sort of 2014 roundup of Doctor Who.
But just as a, what do you think of the season as a whole now it's finished?
I think that there were moments, there little flashes where it could have been something so much better, but I think it was let down by bad ideas and reused plot points, and the fact that there aren't stories that are showing off how Peter Capaldi can play the Doctor well. That's basically my way of summing it up. I think it's been the worst season ever. But there were flashes of good moments, which could have been used really well, but they weren't. What about you?
It's been a very uneven series. I think it's been a very divisive series. I don't think I've ever seen a series of Doctor Who that has caused so much discussion, so many different viewpoints. Just as many people love it as just as many people hate it. It's been like that for virtually every episode. For me, I'm not on board with it. I've made no secret of that. There have been some good points. I enjoyed The Caretaker. I enjoyed Mummy on the Orient Express. Flatline had some good ideas. But apart from that, I have to say...
So if you were to pick 3 episodes to watch that you enjoy watching from the season, what would they be?
Caretaker and Mummy on the Orient Express, and I think that would be it. Even Flatline, it had some good ideas, but even that didn't quite work for me.
I think I'd say the same as you, and then I'd tie it the last one.
But I'll be quite honest, I'm not
Flatline
in a great rush to watch any of these episodes again. I really aren't. It's hasn't grabbed me at all. There's been some great acting, some great moments. Peter Capaldi's been really good with what he's been given, but I just wish he was given something a bit more likeable. And I know that there are people responding to the Dark Doctor and like it a bit, that he's a bit less user friendly. But for me, it's not Doctor Who.
So at Christmas we'll be able to collate the scores and give you what we want with the Christmas special, and then after that we'll be back around Easter time with the monthly features again. If you have an idea for a monthly feature, please send them in. We've got a couple, but we're sort of debating.
Let us know you're out there. Come on.
Yeah.
Please. We're feeling lonely.
But as someone else to tie in the last 2 episodes now, your final viewer, Gabby, she'll be here in just a sec. I'll do it after.
Here's Gabby. What will she say today? Here's Gabby. She's coming on her way. Here's Gabby. She's come to talk to you. Here's Gabby with her Doctor Who review.
Well, that was good. So Gabby's back, and she's got 2 reviews for us this week. She's reviewing the finale. So, Gabby, what did you think of Dark Water, the first part of the 2-part finale?
I like it how it was in a two-parter. They haven't done that for a long while. And I think Stephen Moffat thought it might be a good change. And the Sidemen look really good.
What did you think of the voices? Because they were slightly different this time. I liked them.
Yeah, I liked them. And I thought Missy was a girl version of the Doctor, and she is.
Not she's a girl version of the Master.
Yeah.
You said the Doctor.
Whoops.
So was there anything you didn't like about the first part?
Yes.
What?
It's the Cyberman in Skull.
You didn't like that? No. What did you think of the last part then, Death in Heaven?
That was good.
Why?
Because it was good.
What did you like about it that made it good?
Everything?
So you even like the bit with the Brigadier being a Cyberman then?
No. That made it a bit worse.
Okay. Was there anything else you didn't like about it?
The Brigadier being a Cyberman.
Anything different?
Nah.
No. So what would you give them then out of 10? What about the first part? What would you give that out of 10?
I'll give it 5.
So thanks for that, Gabby. We'll see you at Christmas. That was Gabby's review then of Series 8. Your final review, your final recommendations now until Christmas.
For the love of Rassilon, go watch something by Russell T Davies. That's what I'm going to be doing. Or some classic Doctor Who. Just something. Watch Horns of the Nimon. It's rubbish, but at least it's a laugh.
You can enjoy watching it, basically.
Indeed. No, in all seriousness, go back if you haven't watched Russell T Davies series for a while. You know, give some Christopher Eccleston, some David Tennant a watch. There's some good stuff in there, and I think people are far too judgmental on his writing, and compared to the pap we've had this last season, it's miles better for me. I'm going to watch The Unicorn and the Wasp and have a smile on my face.
I love that episode. That's still one of my favourite episodes of Doctor Who of all time. I love that one. It's definitely top 10 of the new season, maybe even top 5.
So yeah, my recommendation, celebrate the sort of 9th year of Doctor Who coming back.
And revisiting some classics.
I wonder if they will do anything for the 10th. What do you think?
Yeah, there'll be something that will attempt to be entertaining and fail miserably.
I think it'll just be something written by Stephen Moffat, who will try and outdo RTD.
And fail.
Probably.
My recommendations, I'm going back after a recommendation from Brian on Casterbrus, and he's mentioned the second sort of, storyline with the 8th Doctor and Charlie, and I thought that I haven't actually done a whole listen of all the big finishes, so my mission now is to get some more big finishes. The one I'm going to recommend this week is Storm Warning, which is the 8th Doctor one, and Paul McGann's straight in the zone, if you know what I mean, and he works really well with Charlie, and it's a great story and a great introduction. It's something that, if you're new to Big Finish, I recommend this one to start with. I think that's one that I'd recommend to other people, where people are recommending things like Light at the End, which is...
Really?
Yeah, someone actually recommended that as a one to watch to start off with. But I thought that would be a bit daft, really. So I'm going to recommend that one to start off with, and it's a brilliant story. But my other recommendation is Paper, and it's a book. And it's a 12th Doctor book. It's the 3rd in the trilogy.
Hello.
There's been a shift in the space-time continuum, and Gabby has returned from the netherworld. You were saying, Will, paper. We all need it.
Yes.
We all
Still
use
right
it.
on.
Yeah, my recommendation this week is the 3rd 12th Doctor book written by Mike Tucker. It's called The Crawling Terror, and it's basically a story that can't really be done on TV because there are descriptions in there that you couldn't really do on TV for fear of complaints, really. It's quite dark, like this season, but it's dark in a way you can still enjoy it, and there and Peter Capaldi is a bit better in the book.
Is it a story that's too broad and deep for TV?
It is. Basically, without giving too many things away, the Doctor and Clara land in this small village where they find they're under threat from gigantic insects, but there's more of a plot to them, and there are some really good references, and little subtle references to the past classic stories, and they're all sort of subtle, but in the way they make you smile. So I really recommend it. It's a good book, and I'm about to start Silhouette, which I think was the second one. I'm reading them in reverse order.
I don't think it really matters.
No, they're not connected, so it doesn't matter, but that's my recommendations for this week, and that's the end of the podcast. That's the end of the series.
It's the end of time.
And space.
As we know it.
So it's goodbye from me, Will, until Christmas.
Thank you for listening, and let us know what you think.
And let us know. Until then, goodbye.
Cheerio.
Ta-ta.
Auf Wiedersehen.
You have been listening to the Infinity Archives featuring Will and Gareth Lloyd. No copyright infringement is intended, and we appreciate all comments which you can email, tweet and Facebook to us. Or you can leave a comment on the blogs or on the YouTube page. You can download this episode on our SoundCloud stream where this episode will feature for 4 weeks, and then you can listen on YouTube. See you in 2 weeks. My other recommendation is paper.